Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another fine episode of Foxborough Central. I am your host, Bob Hickey, and I want to thank you for taking the time to join with me and my guest as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough truly the gem of Norfolk County. And again, as we say Foxborough, we're really talking about the region. We're blessed to live in such a wonderful area with schools, with medical services, with culture, with open space, green space, oceans, all these things. But then there's a population that maybe we aren't as familiar with, a population that maybe we don't always like to think about, but a population that is here, it's with us, it's part of us, and it deserves to be served. And so I'm so honored to be joined today by my guest, Julie Levin. Julie, thank you so much for being here.
I'm honored. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming out to Foxborough to share the story of Shelter Music Boston. I got that right?
You did indeed.
What is
yes.
Shelter Music Boston?
Shelter Music Boston is a nonprofit organization that I founded in 2010 to provide classical chamber music concerts to homeless shelters and other sheltering environments.
Okay.
And I envisioned this organization as a social service organization when I created it, not a performing arts presenter.
We all have visions when we start these things.
Exactly.
Your original mission statement back in 2010, but now it's 2019. How far have we diverged, or were you able to make it come together into that original mission?
Yeah, we are really on mission at all times. We have presented almost 10 years worth of concerts to homeless individuals. We currently serve 7 different shelters and recovery centers. Another population we address is individuals recovering from substance abuse.
Okay.
So our 7 partners are made up of some shelters and some recovery centers, and each month we serve each of our partners with a concert.
When we say a concert, and by the way, you have this lovely violin sitting on our table.
Yes, that is my lovely violin that plays in the homeless shelters.
And that means you play.
Absolutely, yes, I'm a violinist. And in the beginning of the organization, I played on all of the concerts. As the organization has grown, I've been very lucky to involve many more musicians.
So it's not just you?
Correct. In fact, we have about 30 musicians who are performing now. And we have 5 composers who have written music for us that we have performed for our audiences.
Oh, how neat. And by the way, folks, this is going to be a pretty cool program because we have a couple videos that we're going to put into in the body of the program. One is going to be a demonstration of what that concert might be. And then at the end, we're going to have, let's call it a promotional video, really sharing the mission, the purpose, the intent, and also showing some of the work that they do. So stay tuned. This would be a good one to DVR if you're into this sort of thing, and I hope you are because you're here with us at Foxborough Central. So Julie, with this violin, you started this program, and now it's grown to 30, but as the founder and the artistic director, there's a lot of fundraising that goes into these types of things, and clearly the musicians just don't show up out of the blue. You have to do some recruiting, some training, some rehearsals,
right.
and so let's
absolutely.
talk about the program. I love hearing about this.
Yeah, so you brought up a very good point that the musicians don't just show up.
I brought up 15 points, but I just threw them all out there.
Well, I'll talk as fast as I can. In fact, when I started the organization, I managed every single one of those points, and I realized early on that I knew how to produce concerts. I've done that for my entire career. I play in the Boston Pops, I play in the Handel and Haydn Society, I've traveled globally to perform, but I didn't know how to run a nonprofit. So I actually went back to school for a year to do a certificate program in nonprofit management and leadership, which gave me a terrific foundation in how to grow my organization and what to address and how to address and who to ask when I had questions and problems. Fundraising is a very enormous aspect of a nonprofit organization, and I would like to say here that our musicians are paid for every concert that they perform, and that is because you cannot staff with volunteers or students an organization in which the highest artistic standards are part of the mission delivery.
I think you bring up an excellent point there, because if you're going to treat any population with respect, then that goes for both the population you're serving as well as the population that's participating as the givers of the services, in this case, the musicians.
Absolutely.
And
thank you for acknowledging that.
You get what you pay
Appreciate
for
that.
also. And
That's right.
it just shows the level of professionalism that this organization has. So good for you for recognizing that and implementing that into your structure.
Thank you. Yes.
Because you have to do that.
Absolutely. And we've had a significant impact. In fact, I received an award for this work, the Boston Neighborhood Fellows Award in 2014. In the Boston area, that award is called the Minnie MacArthur Award. And my colleague, who started a sister organization in LA called Street Symphony, actually won a real MacArthur for this exact same work this past fall. So this work of providing marginalized populations with access to high-quality arts programming is something that's getting attention, that serious artists are doing and finding deep satisfaction in and adding as an aspect to their busy professional lives.
Because there is more to life than money.
That's right. Well, there is more to life than money, and of course artists do need to pay mortgages and electric bills as well. But yes, this work it's really about repurposing what a concert is capable of. And our concerts at Shelter Music Boston are catalysts for a respectful and dignified interaction with an individual who may have been walking on the street all day and no one looked him or her in the eye. And that person comes to the shelter and hears Beethoven and says to us, and this is now a quote, "The concert restored my self-esteem."
Yes, and that's a huge piece of what any person, no matter what the walk of life, needs to have is self-respect, self-esteem, and a feeling of being valued. And then when you're reaching out to these populations in a professional manner such as this, it's got to be uplifting, as well as exposing maybe folks who haven't been exposed to the arts to something new, and then folks who maybe were exposed to the arts, but life circumstances brought them to a different situation.
Absolutely.
Give them that opportunity to retouch,
Those
and
are all
have that opportunity just to enjoy.
Yeah, those are all aspects of our work, actually, very much so. You really touched on many components of what we strive for.
I love what you're doing, and then of course all performing arts, plays, musicals, concerts, it's an escape from reality too. And what better opportunity to maybe escape from a tough reality than through music?
Yeah, in fact, there was a young man at the Caspar shelter in Cambridge, Massachusetts, who told me that he thought the concert he heard that night might have saved his life. And I never thought I would be saving lives when I went to music school, but...
Well, you never know who you're going to touch.
Exactly, and how you will touch them, exactly.
So I'm having a very pleasant conversation, as are you, with Julie Levin. She's the founder and artistic director of Shelter Music Boston. I want to give her contact information right now. They are a nonprofit organization. They deserve to have a look from you, not only from a potential donation opportunity, but also just to learn more about what they're doing. They're at www.sheltermusicboston.org. You can also reach out to Julie directly. Julie Levin is the founder, at julie@sheltermusicboston.org.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There we go.
.org.
And
Yes.
the .org is a beautiful thing because it really shows that we are a registered nonprofit organization. You also have productions coming up, and the schedule is private because these are not for the public. These are geared towards the shelters, correct?
That's right. Our concerts take place in homeless shelters and in centers that are sheltering people who are in recovery programs. Those individuals in recovery programs may not necessarily be homeless individuals, although some of them may have experienced homelessness. So we serve a population that is not typically what one would expect to see at a classical chamber music concert.
And you use the term a marginalized population.
Yes,
I suppose that encompasses a number of different issues, life issues that are...
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
super. So I think now would be an excellent opportunity to take a look at one of these performances. Is that what we're going to look at now?
Terrific, yes.
Why don't you tell us what we're going to be looking at?
Yes, well, this will be an excerpt from one of our most ambitious projects ever. In fact, the project...
Most ambitious, as opposed to this whole project.
Exactly. Well, this project, we collaborated with our audience members to create music. And the tune, the melody you will hear, was written by a group of women in the Dimmick Center during a workshop that we presented to enable our audiences to write music. And of course they said, we can't write music, but we provided a very structured workshop that invited them by offering simple tools, such as, could you play it faster, slower, backwards, forwards, and they got to decide. And this melody evolved out of the workshop, as well as the poetry that is set to the music. One of the women wrote a poem while others were creating music. She was in her head and wrote this poem. So the work that emerged is called Shells from the Sea. The title comes from the poem.
Okay.
And it was created by the women at the Dimmick Center program that we serve and Shelter Music Boston musicians.
All right. So, folks, let's enjoy Shells from the Sea. That was great. I always enjoy being able to see demonstrations of what the different guests are doing in their mission, and that clearly was a special moment. Can you?
Thank you.
What was the reaction from the folks that were in the audience, or who actually in this case were participating?
Yeah, people were enthralled with the concept that someone who had walked in their shoes had been participating in the creation of this music. Mm-hmm. Of course, when we did the project, we were serving the group that was there at that time, and we said, music doesn't get written overnight, so we can't perform the completed work, but you all are contributing to something that's much bigger than all of us. Mm-hmm. And people were quite taken with that they were part of the process. And when we came back to perform for the individuals in the program, it was over a year later, there was one woman who said, wow, you always asked us what we thought after concerts, and I thought you just threw that material away. And I said, nope, we made music out of it. Not only do we make music out of it, but we use it to demonstrate the impact of our program.
Outstanding.
So yeah, it was very exciting.
It's really cool. And then she recognized it a year later, so clearly there was an impact.
That's right, yes. She had been in that program previously, so she recalled that her opinion had been valued before, and here it was.
Again, you never know who you're going to touch.
Exactly.
Impressive. Of course, I'm speaking with Julie Levin. She is the founder and artistic director of Shelter Music Boston. She can be contacted by email if you want to find out more information about the program. Maybe you're a musician, you want to participate as a contributor, or maybe you are in the field and you'd like to learn more about how your organization can get involved. She's Julie at sheltermusicboston.org, or you can look her up on the website, www.sheltermusicboston.org. We're quickly running out of time, but here we are in 2019. The organization started almost 10 years ago. How did you get here with that wonderful production? That doesn't happen overnight. You had to have some bumps and bruises. What's the history of this?
Yeah, well, for the first 5 years, I did all of the jobs of running a nonprofit.
As typically we do when we start these things.
Right, from the database to the fundraising to implementing program delivery, choosing the repertoire, finding the musicians, etc. I was able to hire an assistant, actually, who became after about 5 years, became the director of operations and development. And then 2 years later, I handed over the executive roles to our current managing director. And so we have 3 administrators working on this. We are constantly writing grants, making presentations, presenting concerts, 7 to 8 concerts a month. We did start a children's program.
How many a month?
7 to 8.
A month?
Yes, and we serve our partners 10 months a year. So we are producing over 80 chamber music concerts annually.
That is an impressive number.
It's a staggering number for a small organization, in fact.
That's a staggering number for any organization.
Yeah, that's true.
As you know, in performing arts, you just don't flip a switch and handle
right.
comes out.
That's right. No, so the way we work is
particularly because you're using professional musicians. I don't mean to interrupt, but you're using professional musicians, so they have other gigs going on.
Yes, all of our performers perform locally, nationally, and internationally. We have some wonderful musicians. And the way it works is that the concert gets rehearsed, the program is rehearsed, and then the concert is performed 7 or 8 times in a row. Mm-hmm. The children's program has separate repertoire. Sure. So it's fantastic for the musicians because they get to delve deeply into one program and repeat it for different audiences. And then the next month it will be a different program with a different set of musicians, all of whom have been trained in our particular type of interactive concert presentation.
Well, what a super model you have, because you're actually creating your season, a 10-month season, but your venue are the shelters, the populations that you're serving,
exactly,
as opposed to
waiting for the audience to come. No, we take the music to where it's needed. I call them environments of need, and there are many besides the ones we serve. There are many.
Fantastic.
In fact, I say it will be a great day when there are no homeless shelters to give concerts to, because we've solved this problem, this very large systemic problem. But there are many environments of need, and where music can have a significant impact.
But until that day, we're lucky to have Shelter Music Boston to fill that void and create some magic.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the last word. We are so close to being out of time. I want to remind everybody at home that we are, again, speaking with Julie Levin. She's the founder and artistic director of Shelter Music Boston. Real quickly, you also perform professionally.
Oh, yes, absolutely. As I said, in the Boston Pops and the Handel and Heinz Society, I've played all over the world. I'm very lucky. I've been working as a musician since I graduated from music school.
Amazing. I wish we had a whole nother program to listen to some of your work, but we don't. But what we do have is the opportunity to share that you should log on to www.sheltermusicboston.org. Learn more about this program. There is a donate button. There's also a tab where you can learn about their history, about their mission, and about how maybe you can become part of their organization as far as either being a user or a contributor. Also, if you want to reach out to Julie directly, Julie Levin is at julie@sheltermusicboston.org. Thank you so much. And before we go to the video that was, by the way, what is the video exactly that we're going to be looking at?
Yeah, the second video is actually from a shelter performance. Okay. We were allowed to film in one of our venues. It's the Dimmick Center, actually. It's the Women in a Recovery Program. And it's and the women get to participate in the actual performance. This piece was constructed to allow for audience participation, so they get to perform with the musicians. And the words that they say and that are sung are comments from previous audience members in response to our concerts. So it's a very layered collaboration, and it was very successful. Our audiences loved hearing it and loved being part of the performance. And that fantastic. Piece is called In Our Own Words.
In Our Own Words. Excellent. Before we get to In Our Own Words, I'm going to let you have the last word in your own words.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been an honor to be here and to introduce your audiences to Shelter Music Boston. We are really having a tremendous impact with classical chamber music in homeless shelters and recovery centers throughout Greater Boston. And we always love to make new friends, so please do check out our website. We have a YouTube channel where you can hear our performances of many kinds, as well as a SoundCloud channel. And the bottom line is our concerts are about providing marginalized individuals with a dignified and respectful interaction. And the concert is a catalyst to show someone who is in need of respect the human dignity that we all deserve. Thank you so much.
Julie Levin, thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for joining us. If you missed any of this information, of course, you can check us out at www.fcatv.org. Look for us again on their favorite Comcast Verizon channel here in Foxborough, or follow us on our YouTube channel. Type into Foxboro Cable Access and click on Foxborough Central, and there we will be. Julie Levin, let us enjoy now In Our Own Words.
How it works is there are 5 tiny little jewels. They're like little gems, and they're all very short. So if we can go straight through without any applause, I think we'll have a sense of the whole 5 little sparkles all in a row. So here we go. All right.
Water. Sing it or sing it? Just gonna speak it. Yeah. Water. The music was The music was water for my soul when it was thirsty.
The music was water for my soul when it was thirsty.
Mystery. Music is the mystery inside the blood.
Music is the mystery inside the blood.
I am grateful I am here.
I am grateful, so very grateful. Oh, I am grateful, I can hear.
World, thank you for doing this for us. It means the world.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this for us. It means the world.
Celebration. I was excited to hear violins. Super happy violin time.
I was excited to hear